guys, I'm here with the game 1 of the RD2L game between, actually I don't know their names, but we're just gonna call them Team Tickles, and I think it's, Team Vuvuzuela Virtuoso, or whatever. I know some of these players, but I am not super familiar with them, I'm sorry. We're just gonna go through the team comps real quick here. This is Jug, alright, played by Suisei. USS on the Tidehunter, Penguin on the Ogre, Polo 5885 on the Windranger, and Tickles on the Weaver. And on Dire we have Hollywood on the Disruptor, Pingling on the Tinker, Vuvuzuela Virtuoso. I'm sorry, that name is terrible. Excuse me, terrible to say, not actually terrible. Ugly ADHD Demon, I guess that's a referral to the actual pro player Demon, XD. And Amazing on the Bristleback, sorry. ADHD Demon's on the Raid King. I don't actually know the ranks, but it looks like the Divine 3, Ancient 3, Divine 5, okay. Ancient 2, and is that Guardian 3? Okay, that's Guardian 3 against Legend 2, Immortal, Archon 4, Divine 3, and Ancient 4. So it's a pretty close game. Both sides have, I guess, players who are Immortal or close to Immortal, and another Divine, and then some Ancients, and then and slightly lower MMR supports. So just looking at the lineups real quick before we actually go back live. I did miss the drafting phase, unfortunately, so I don't know how they drafted, but Juggernaut, Tide, Ogre, Windranger, and Weaver. So the first thing you see is this lineup really likes to fight, you know? This is a lineup where Tide or Windranger can kind of initiate, and then you have some really, I guess, you have some supports that can really buff up this Jug. Weaver is eventually going to get the Axe to make it hard for the Jug to die, and then Ogre buffs up the Jug. It's a very run-at-you comp. I think it suits Radiant's style, from what I know of them. And on Dire, we have a more well-rounded team comp, I want to say. I do see that they don't really have a lot of stuns. They have the Wraith King stun, but Wraith King's not going to join them for a long time, and they have the Starter double stun. And they have a Tinker support, which is always weird. I think that was supposed to be stealing Penguin's Tinker. I really don't know. Like, Tinker supports feels so weird. And the Disruptor, who does have some level of control. So there's a lot of catch on Dire side. And then this Bristleback, I mean, it's confusing. If this is a Bristle mid, he's going to be laning against a Windranger. It's going to be a bit of a wash. No one's really going to win this lane. I'd imagine that Slardar does put a lot of pressure on Jug. Jug is eventually going to leave that lane, especially if it's like a Tinker Slardar. It's so hard for Jug to play this lane, right? Because any mistake means that Jug just gets run down by the Slardar once Slardar gets a few levels. And the reverse is never really true, because Slardar has two ways of disengage: Guardian's Grip and Bash of the Deep. And Ogre's just not really enough lockdown for the Jug to, I think, catch up. But we'll see. If they ever go on the Tinker, Tinker is easily killed. I mean, Tinker does do pretty decently into Ogre, I'd imagine, just because of the magic damage. Overall, I'd say this is pretty heavily in favor of Radiant. Just looking at the drafts, I think Radiant just has better ways of engaging, and better ways of, I think, even disengaging, because you can always spin TP out. Tide just kind of waltzes out, Wind runs out, and Weaver Shikuchi's out. Whereas Dire, you get caught, and what do you really have left? Also, Weaver is going to be a pretty decent counter to the Disruptor if someone gets glimpsed, like eventually, once the Axe again comes in. So let's just kind of start, and we are actually going to jump right but it looks like, let's see what happened here. It looks like just some good plays. I think top and bottom. I did this the first go. I want to see what the first go happened. So I think it happened top. Jiggles, and like the Tide Weaver lane is super strong, and I think we just dive the Disruptor, and yeah. I'd imagine Disruptor just dies here. And we're gonna go 4 times speed. Yeah, Disruptor just kind of dies. A little bit greedy by Disruptor, not like healing him a little bit more. He's gonna want to save the Sal for the raid team, but then the raid team gets him dying too. And now bot lane, we're just gonna go by last hits here. I like last hits. Yeah, bot lane going pretty decently, and we're finally live. So, this mid lane is going really well for the what's it called? It's going really well for the Wind Ranger. 21-6. I feel like just maybe. Oh, sorry, great camera. What's going on? Why do I not hear sound? Did something happen? Maybe I crashed the game. Let me restart this. So yeah, I don't really know what happened because that lane is supposed to be very even, just because of the fact that all you really have to do as Bristleback is just use your close last hit. You're not gonna have that harass, and Winged Ranger just kind of last hits. But I think that's just a little bit of player skill diff right there. And looks like some warriors died, but more importantly, Jug died here bottom. So I think I was right about this bottom is just gonna be difficult for this Juggernaut, and. Interested to see what this Wind Ranger really decides to go for. Obviously the Javelin is a big early item that you pick up on Wind Ranger. You skip the boots to get the Javelin, and then after you get this Javelin, you can do a lot of just roaming and just fighting with the Javelin. It's not something that you want to really hold out for. Yeah, so top lane Tide I think is having a great time here. He's basically free farming, something that you never really want to see. And wow, this raid king, I think he just has like gloves in the south coming in. This is just going miserably. Meanwhile, bot lane, Jug's not having a fun time, but like still something a little bit ahead of this, or just a little tiny bit ahead of the. Oh man, they can bait it out here, and I think that's just a dead ogre here. Yeah, just. Well, maybe not actually. No, the healing word was not enough, and I think Jug has to be careful here because he can literally die. Okay. And top lane. I'm sorry, I'm just missing kills left and right, but another fast death by the Disruptor. So this both side lanes are just kind of trading kills. It's very scary. I think to be trading kills as Dire, I don't think that Dire has a solid enough team comp to really warrant it. But they do get a kill on the leader. It's alright, they're getting compensation. And the other thing is the Bristleback has that control back in this mid lane, probably just based on the nature of the hero itself. This Bristleback will be a difficult hero to kill until the Jug really goes for something like a Silver Edge. Actually, let me see if yeah, let me see if HLB wants to go. I'm gonna give him. They want to cast this game with me, XD. Let me see if he wants to join. I do know that he's a little bit sick, so he might not actually want to come in. But yeah, Ogre harassing this Tinker out, and this Tinker is getting pretty farmed. And, Smarter, I wonder what he's going to go for first. There's a few choices here. You can't go for the Echo Saber, but I feel like going Echo Saber is kind of tricky, because you're the primary initiator, so you're not going to really get too many chances to just right-click people down. We'll see. When are you actually looking to roam bottom? I think it's another kill top, so his Tide is massive. I think he's gonna do his classic axe build. It's a little greedy, but when you're having this good of a start, it makes sense. So Wind Ranger's just kind of sitting here hoping to catch this starter, and I think the starter is way too greedy, and that's not gonna get. So good rotation by the Wind Ranger, and the strongest hero on Dire just gets shut down. I mean, yeah, you have Bristleback farming a bit, but I don't really know what this Bristleback is going to do. Like, it's just so tough for Bristleback to play in these matches because by the time the Bristleback actually gets to his Ags and gets to his first big items, the Radiant's going to start having Silver Edges and start having just a lot of tankiness. Juggernaut, oh man, this Juggernaut is miserable. The one good thing for Dire is that Radiant does farm the jungle way better than Juggernaut. So even though this lane is going terribly for both of them, I think the Raid King is going to recover much more quickly. Jug, for example, has to just kind of run home because he's using like his spin and everything to farm. At this point, I would definitely just go Treads. You're not ever going to need these face boots against, I think, the Dire team. There's an argument that the chainmail is good versus Slardar, and the face boots are good for running away, but I mean, I think if you're just planning on running away as Jug, it's already a pretty miserable situation. And pretty run down here again, but doing a pretty good job of like having these guys just kind of chase. And this thing is slightly overextended, but I think the Over's just gonna die, and maybe you get the return kill. Yeah, they actually do get the return kill. So good job by the Jug. A pretty heads-up play to actually TP back because now he's able to get the farm over here. At the same time, we see this top tower falling. I think it actually fell a little bit a while ago, but
I accept this offering.
the tide is able to start rotating. Once this Jug like this, I think this needs to leave again and go top. I think the tide can take over this lane. Bristleback pushing out mid. I do think there's a little bit of an overcommitment here. You don't need 4 heroes to really deal with Bristleback. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, so I think the Jug is just kind of like, yeah, the TP was good, but now he's kind of just on the wrong side of the map, you know, like he really wants to start farming these stacks, and oh, this ancient stack is really griefy. I actually don't know. Yeah, so like, I haven't watched anyone from the Dire. I do know that Pingling was on the same team as Headwind, but unfortunately, Pingling is playing support instead of carry this season, so it's a lot different. Again, yeah, I just feel like they're kind of wasting this Tide's potential. He really wants to use this Ravage, but it's the Jug kind of fighting it. They do catch out this Slardar. Oh, really nice job by these two forming like this mini combo where you just kill the Slardar with the Omni plus stun combo. And Tinker has no saves, right? So now they're actually having a bit of a free game. One thing that is a little bit worrisome is that this Wind Ranger kind of, it's really cut off, right? Like the Wind Ranger hasn't been able to get anything in the past 3 or 4 minutes, just kind of be roaming around. Does have the Maelstrom, is farming decently, but Wind Ranger's not like a hero that really wants to just farm. She wants to snowball and be able to fight. You can't wait for your timings, don't get me wrong, but it's not your preferred way of playing. It might just be like this Bristleback making so much space for the team that she can't really do too much, but having a support here to just kind of hold off the Bristle, because you know Bristle's not like a great power hitter at this early levels. Just kind of hit stacks would be a lot nicer, because otherwise you have things like this happening where Bristle's just having a completely free game, but you're also not pressuring the side lanes anymore, and the game just kind of stagnates. Right? And your Jug is falling so far behind that you can't really compensate for that. Like, Juggernaut really wants to be able to just hit regular camps. He doesn't love hitting neutral camps. And yeah, so that's what's kind of happening here. He does get the Possessed Mask, but you know, Raid King is slowly catching up. Once the Red King gets to his armlet, he's going to be a lot stronger than this Jug, who's just barely going to be able to get to his first item. I think when this... Oh, that's an interesting choice to get the Ritual Hammer. I think you usually want to pick up this Javelin. Javelin actually does take more damage, but it's not a huge deal. And then Red King over here is about to fall, but he does have Reincarnation. Oh, the static storm is just a little unfortunate. I don't know if you want to actually go on the side of the Titan Hunter. He actually ravages and turns the fight, but in this stun from the starter, and now the ring is over here, and she's going to start focus firing the Titan, the Bristleback, and Bristleback is just dead here. I think a huge overcommitment by Dire or onto the Tide, because you never really want to fight against this Tide, and this it's your strongest hero. Bristleback dies now, and this is when he's trying to farm up that axe. You know, a massive item just normally would be the item that can just win you the game. You know, like, but I think you shut it down instead. It's not the right call maybe by this jug to ever be split pushing, just like that at least, because Slardar can and will cancel it. That was the blink reveal from the Slardar, so good job by Slardar killing off this Juggernaut, getting at least a little bit of compensation. The gold is still pretty close, but we saw how strong Dire kind of is. Over here is probably dead. I don't really see him getting away from these heroes, but they do give me just a good compensation. Again, they have to be a little bit careful here. A good shackle shot killing the Tinker on the back line, but I think Bristleback's going to catch out the Tide, which is a bigger kill. You know, Tide has been kind of unmatched this game, and Bristle killing this Tide would be really, really nice. And he does get him, and Wind Ranger on the other hand just goes and finds the starter as well. So just great plays from kind of both teams. They were both able to get some kills, but I do think it heavily favors the Dire, just because even though Raiden got more kills, Dire was behind, so they got the bigger streaks, right? They got the kill on the Tide, and at the same time, this Raid King was farming, and in maybe 3-4 minutes or so, Raid King's gonna have Desolator, and just finishes Maelstrom and is only now able to take these ancient stacks. This is stacked. It's gonna lower his farm efficiency by a bit. And meanwhile, Red King is climbing up the net worth charts. A little bit scary. I mean, this Tricor is strong. So when Ranger comes, but he doesn't actually see. So now Red King can just kind of walk away. You don't have focus fire. I don't know if you really want me to do that. I guess it just cuts off this Red King's farming pattern. But it's a bit of a, again, it's just a bit of a weird play because you had your entire team rotate and follow you. You know, so maybe you could have waited a little bit, maybe, I don't know, maybe you just didn't think that that was a possible kill because Red King was going to leave after killing the camp. Just, there's some unfortunate bad movements. And now they're trying to collapse on some of the hardest way to kill. I don't think they were able to kill this. Like, at the very least, I don't suggest you go on this. I guess they just have to. Oh, focus fire, oh! And Wind Ranger is really overcommitted, and I think the glimpse is going to come out. And no sad storm, no nothing follow up. So luckily the Wind Ranger does live. I think if Dire had chosen to kill on that, they might have been able to kill the Wind Ranger, but they chose not to, so all good. Getting chased down by the Type Hunter over here. Yeah, like, Type's going for this flags. I wonder what the thought process is behind those flags. I mean, you're not going for Helm of the Overlord, obviously, right? So that's strange. Maybe it's just a buff of the Jug who's having a bit of a rough time. I definitely prefer going for like a big tank item first. Like something like a Lotus Orb this game would be really, really strong. Look at Dire's lineup. Everything is countered by Lotus Orb. Maybe you don't want to go that as high as much as you normally do, but
Radiant's bottom tower.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I do believe that is the axe completed on the Bristleback, so this is a huge timing for Dire. They need to make use of this because soon the Silver Edges are going to come out. Yeah, and the Jug makes the correct call to build Silver Edge. Sardar actually managed to get away from the Wind Ranger. I think it was a missed shackle, yeah, based off of the fact that she used it, and Sardar just kind of ran away. Tinker went for the Tranquil Boots, slowly farming up the Blink. I don't know how support Tinker really works. This hero does quite well. I'm sorry, missing a kill. This is just kind of random. I guess it could have I think this Bristle dies, so not worth. really good collapse by Radiant, just sending all the heroes to kill the Bristle. Any kill on Bristle is absolutely worth as many heroes as you need to send. Like, Bristle's, it's a mid Bristle, it's not someone who can just run in and die every single time without getting hard punished. And now, you can start looking for a Roshan. It is a little bit risky. You do have Ravage. I think actually they have double minus armor. I don't think this is the... Oh man. Oh, this could be so bad. Oh no, he's gonna get the point where static. No, he didn't use the Static Storm. No, he did not use Static Storm. I guess he just figured that his team wasn't close enough. That's really good. I don't know what's going on here. With the given word up, I think Dyer's just gonna get this up. That was so strange. I thought for sure he was just gonna pop the Static Storm and then he'd have his team run in, but I guess the call was to back out and yeah, no, I'm really curious as to whether he could have Static Storm here. I thought they were ready to fight this, you know, like he just Static Storm, just killed this healing ward, and I think Radiant just has to disengage or something. Maybe they just, I don't know, maybe they were just prepared. So yeah, so now after this, Tinker just kind of falls mid, and Radiant actually goes on the Wind Ranger, and Wind Ranger is in trouble. Oh, but a nice BKB plus Wind Ranger does get the Wind Ranger out of dodge. Very nice done. And on the other side, Bristle probably falls here. I think this Bear Vessel is enough to kill him. Yeah. So, really good plays by Radiant. The 500 does fall. That's kind of a strong item. Even with the Aegis, I don't think Radiant want to fight Dire at this time. Oh, the Juggernaut got this break through. Oh man, I think this is 2 deaths on the jug. Yeah, pretty sure this is going to be 2 deaths on the jug if Ryder just kind of goes on it. But actually, I don't know, this no follow-up. Dire just feels really slow on the follow-up, and use the button skills and everything just kind of gets missed. Yikes. A symphony of skills. Not exactly. Let's not talk about that fight. So overall, Radiant really getting a pretty solid advantage. I think they did lose some heroes, but getting the kill on the Bristleback was big, and getting the kill again on the Slardar, who's just falling further and further behind. This was a pretty strong Slardar, and now it's just not a hero. You know, it's starting to feel like that. Bristleback also falling quite a bit behind, placing up for the third, and more importantly, the Jug is catching up, right? So the next big timing window for the Dire is really this Wraith King Blink. Once the Wraith King has Blink, you can just kind of go into the back lines and maybe just blow up either maybe not the Wind Ranger because she has BKB, but you can blow up the Ogre or the Weaver in just one stun. Yeah, you absolutely have enough damage for it, and because of that, it's scary for Dire, I think, to ever really fight. Scary for Radiant to actually really fight into it. But Radiant's just doing a great job of getting some catches here and there, peeling off Hollywood again. Hollywood's been having a rough game, 1-8. He is their lowest ranked player. So yeah, oh man, Slardar in a bit of trouble there. Just to blink out. Radiant choosing to push this bottom tower. I do think this is a bit of a strategic mistake. You know, there's not much value into really taking this, but I guess Radiant feel like they can just take a fight, and maybe they're right. They're just kind of melting the Slardar, and Breaking Falls a really good Static Storm, but there just isn't enough damage. You know, one of your main damage generators is Slardar that. Oh, but Ricky does actually kill off the Shackle shot by Wimbledon. Ricky killed off the Juggernaut, and on the side, I think the Disruptor's about to fall again. So this constant aggression from Radiant, and Dire just isn't able to answer it, even with this massive Bristleback, who is supposed to be this unkillable wall. I think just having the Wind Rangers really helping out. She was able to not only kill off the Wraith King with her power focus fire, she was also able to get a nice shackle shot onto the Wraith King and I believe the Disruptor, and just ended up pulling that too. I wonder if Radiant is looking to actually go for high ground, or they already used the Aegis, so it's a good call to back out. They are a little bit split. Maybe they can kill this Tinker, and they do, yeah. Kind of a, kind of sloppy play by Dyer. It feels like they just aren't fighting together, and something's going on with their comms because they're not going in all at once, and it's leaving a few stragglers behind. Yeah, and Radiant's just doing a good job of really punishing that every single time that Dyer is just a little bit out of position. So that's farming next to the Juggernaut. I think he's trying to do something here, but Slider is just no longer strong enough, like before, if this was a Slider that could really just 1v1 the Jug, then that would be a kill, like there's no escaping for the Jug. But now that the Jug is able to actually fight the Slider, it's Slider who it just kind of corrosive pieces and then has to watch out, because if he's not careful, he just gets Omni Slash and dies. Oh, really good blink. I guess this ward spotted the Wind Ranger. Alright, this is kind of weird. I guess it's positioned by Radiant, but they catch the Bristleback, and Bristleback just kind of dies. Great job by Paula. The Static Storm comes out, but there's no follow-up yet again. Tinker's just in the back line trying to deal some damage, but Tide's running him down, and now the Minions coming in, and the Starters coming in. There's just, it's just really rough, and I think the Starter's gonna fall too. Great job by Paula, just getting kill after kill after kill. And now the Juggernaut just the walk it down top. He still has Omni Slash, still has Healing Ward that drops it down. I think they just go for the high ground. 60 seconds at the start there, we can really pressure it and buy back potentially. I guess the Wind Ranger is a little bit low. They smoke, I'm not too sure. I think this smoke is an indication that they're going to back out. Maybe not. The Disruptor is looking to make a play, but it's hard. Like you can't really make plays when the team's entirely dead. This Disruptor is actually playing pretty well with this. This is Static Storm. We're getting big Static Storms, but it's just this team's not really willing to follow up. Yeah, maybe it's just the fact that they're so weak. Like this is a 10k gold lead. And Juggernaut gets the Silver Edge. It's not the fastest Silver in the world, but I think you'll take what you can get considering how bad of an early game the Jug had. He's gonna go for the Abyssal Blade next. And yeah, it's fine. It gives you a bit of tankiness, and Fire just can't really go ahead. Ogre dies. Probably caught up by the glimpse, yeah. So yeah, and you don't really need attack speed this game just because you have Ogre, who with his Bloodlust is going to give you amazing attack speed just on your own. And you do have 2 attack speed items already, even with the face boots. So Weaver is somewhat close to his Axe. It's a really good Axe game. I kind of wish he just, I don't know, this Vessel has been doing work, so it's hard to say. Maybe he... Yeah, I think Vessel's the right choice. I don't think you need the Axe that early, especially not with how the game was developing. Wind Ranger is going for an Axe of her own. Personally, I really like the Boots of Travels for like a blink, just so you can go on people between some solo plays. But I can see why this Axe is good. It gives you the double wind run. And the 30% evasion is also quite nice. I prepared, I think, to try and kill this Bristleback. Yeah, they just go in, and he probably started thinking he did, so this is going to be a refresh kills. So, yeah, this Bristleback is just dead again. Wraith King does have the blink, but again, that fight just never really happened. She's going for a BKB. You do need it against this Radiant lineup, but it's another non-damage item, so like your Deso was really good maybe 5 minutes ago, but now it's not enough, right? You already start seeing AC come out from the Tide, so big items one after the other, and this Ogre is just going to continuously hamper his teammates whenever he gets a chance, right? He's gonna bloodlust this Jug, right? Yeah, use your bloodlust. No, you're not gonna bloodlust. All right, I guess you don't need bloodlust. I guess you don't pick Ogre for that skill. Never. You will never pick Ogre for that skill. Yeah. Anyway. Anyway, so jokes
Radiant's
aside,
middle
I
tower
think
is under
Radiant's
attack.
just doing a great job of controlling the map. I feel like they didn't need to give up this area, but with the joke ticking away, maybe they did have to concede. Yeah, because you really want to defend this ward, right? This is such a great ward. If Dire ever get a chance to just deward this, you're going to be giving Radiant just a little bit of farm, and Radiant is really the only chance Dire have of coming back into this game because I don't think Bristle's going to be that making threat.
Radiant's
So yeah, Bristle does go in, and this will pick up starting to catch us off the Ogre. So it is a 4v5 starting off the fight. The Bristle's already kind of low. They catch the Weaver. Oh, really nice Ravage coming out, and I think that's going to be the end of the fight. Omnisash comes in. Red King goes in 1v5 right after, or 1v4 right after the dive, and you don't like to even kill a healing ward. And now it's not coming backing up, and yep, very clean fight for Radiant. Great usage of skills, and GG is called by Boo Suela for Trio. So that's game one. Well played by I want to say mostly the Radiant team, but Dire had their moments. You know, their laning phase was decent, and they made some plays. I don't think they ever really went for smoke kings or anything, but you know, it was a rough game for them. So yeah, GG's, and I will be back, I think, for game number 2.